My name is Chin Chin, and I'm here to really talk about domestic violence awareness to some degree, I guess.
Yeah.
and I really, whenever you started a podcast, I felt I kind of resonated with it because a lot of people to go through different things in life, and sometimes there are people that have a difficult time speaking out loud or even telling people about their experiences, and they don't realize how liberating it is.
Yeah.
You know, um, I feel like to some degree, mostly, from my experience, um, women that go through domestic violence, it's it's shameful, and then a lot of women feel ashamed, and there's shame there. There's um, kind of I can't think of the word. Like they feel degraded to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a while, it's it almost becomes like your your persona, right?
Yeah.
Like people see you as just oh, like she used to do this and do that. Like a lot of people keep that persona of you for a while,
Yeah.
and
Which
oh
is crazy
yeah.
because, like, most of the time, like, people, they only remember the negative traits about
Mm-hmm.
us. But whenever we're doing something good or something great or something really good with our life, they don't ever really remember that.
No, they don't. They kind of they stick to the negativity.
Negativity. Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of like like whenever you do accomplish anything in life, they kind of like bring you back to the negativity. I think that's where like the crab in a bucket mentality falls in, they kind of want to drag you down like, oh, she started her own business. Oh, it must have been because of a PPP loan, or it's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
something negative that they have attached to it, rather than, oh my God, it's amazing, congratulations.
Yeah.
um or like, oh, I do nails, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, oh, we own a nail salon, and I do this and do that. And then there'd be some people like, oh, I knew her in high school. She
Yeah.
did this and that. And I'm like, I was
Okay.
like
That was in high
14,
school.
15, 16, like, please be for real.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 28 now. I've learned so much in life. I've grown, and, you still have more to learn. And it's just like, I feel like it's just so crazy that people kind of still attach you to
Yeah.
those
To your
things.
past.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think like that's where like women has gone through like domestic violence, and then people know about it. They kind of stick it onto them, and kind of it's hard for them to really liberate themselves. And then there's still some women that I feel like are still stuck in those relationships, and have difficult time leaving it.
Leaving. Yeah.
Yeah. And sorry.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. I do nails too.
Hmm.
So, we talk to so many women on a daily basis, and most of the time they confide in us and they tell us about their stories, their struggles, their traumas, all that. And most of the time, some clients are like, I'm stuck in this situation because he makes all the money,
Hmm.
he does everything and all that. I don't have any income, I don't have nothing to my name.
A lot of women, they stick around because of what they feel is easier, you know, they lack the finances, or even they have children with this person, or they get moved to a different state, and then all they have is that individual, and they don't know how to start all the way over. And like on my end, I actually didn't have the finance problem. It was more of um kind of like, how do I put it, Stockholm syndrome, right? I
Okay,
think
yeah.
that's the closest thing I can really put, like attach it to. And so I didn't really have the best home life growing up, and so when we came to the US, it was my dad, my brother, my sister, and I. And we were poor. We came from the Philippines, came here. Of course, the money, when money transfers over, it's not the same. And so my dad worked his ass off, like, oh my God, so much, and then went to school at the same time, and still had to take care of us. Because when we came in, I was 10, 9, 10. My
Hmm.
brother was a year younger than me. My sister's 6 years younger. And so he had to take care of three children all on his own, so the emotional support was definitely lacking,
Yeah.
and there's no guidance, no none of that. And we didn't have our mom. And so it was just us kind of trying to figure out how to grow up, you know. And so we stayed in the projects, and we went to, like, of course, like, not the best schools. It's kind of like an urban school, and it's more I feel like the school I went to at least was better because it was like more diverse,
Yeah.
but definitely, like, like, not, I want to say, like, the best education. um when I feel like schools are where it's closer in, like, inner city schools, they're more focused on having the kids graduate and giving them quality education. you know um I feel like it's more tailored to, I guess, like, like children that go through a lot at home,
Mm-hmm.
that usually they don't go to school to really learn. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like a different environment,
Yeah.
versus like more prominent schools. They're good at home, so they go to school, and then they have the friends and so forth, teachers, but then it's more academic based,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like the school I went to was a little different, and everybody had their own problems, their own issues, and so I kind of stuck to like those type of friends that had like some had like deeper trauma, some were like just like, it's, you kind of attach to the friends that you relate to.
Yeah.
And so when I was 16, I had met this guy, and I was really young or whatever, and I just wanted to get out of my dad's house. Like, we argued a lot. My father and I, when I was younger, we didn't really get along too well. I was very rebellious,
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of responsibility, had to watch for my brother and my sister, had to, my dad's English wasn't the best, and so I had to make all the appointments. I had to handle, like, like, help him, like, with bills. If he has any questions, I had to call them. And, like, I had to do that from when I was like 10 till like I left the house at 18.
Mm-hmm.
So from then on, I had to handle all of those things. And mind you, he took care of us financially, right? So, as best as he could, as a single father with 3 children. But um, it can only go so far. In the beginning, he started off as, like, I think, where did he work at? It used to be called John's Seafood. It's over there by Super One.
Okay.
And he was like the cook, and then making like $7.25 an hour with 3 kids. And then you think about that now, like, how,
Yeah.
like, that's crazy. I can't even think, like, 7.20. That's not even a meal.
No.
You work your
Or gas.
yes, girl, not even gas. Like, maybe like 2 gallons of gas,
Yeah.
and that's all it would give you, like, for an hour of your time. And that's what he had to do. And then after work, he would go to school. And so, of course, I was responsible for making sure that my brother and my sister were good. He would cook, like, a lot of food. I'm digressing, but he would cook a
Okay.
lot of food, and then I would heat it up, and we would eat, and then we'd just wait for him to get home. Or sometimes we would go to my grandmother's and just stay there. Well, she's not my grandmother, she's my great aunt, but we would
Okay.
stay there, hang out, and then he would pick us up, and then it's the same thing over and over. So, anyways, I was 16, and how old was he? I think he was 17 going
Mm-hmm.
on 18. And
How did you meet him?
my friend, it was through my friend. They had some sort, they were friends, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose. And then, like, it started on Facebook Messenger, and he was like charming. And I feel like with narcissists, that's how it always is. They're always charming. People would
Yeah.
never know,
Yeah.
right? And so, um, I he had a vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
and then back then I was like, oh, 16, I
Yeah.
can't, I don't get around much. And then you meet someone that had a car. That's amazing, because then, like, wherever I needed to go, I could
Pretty
get
much you
to.
relied on him
Mm-hmm.
on taking you wherever.
Yeah, and then, like, which is stupid, by the way, but like like with school systems or whatever, if you live a certain, like, a mile or two away from the school, or I think it's like 5 miles or something, you'd have to have your own transportation. The bus won't pick you up.
Yeah.
And so we would have to walk to school every day. And I mean, like, that was annoying, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, like, school, because, like, literally school buses would just be on, like, passing by. Why couldn't they just pick
Yeah.
the kids up? But anyhow, and so that was super convenient. I really, you know, like, so the convenience of it
Of it.
really made me, stick it out. And so, of course, like, I thought I was in love or whatever. I was 16 and young. And, um, so it started with that. And then, like, that I would say that was like my first real relationship, so I never really dated, like, see, like how I did then. Like, it was like I didn't know what dating was. Dating
Yeah.
was, and so we were together all the time. I started skipping school a lot because I just wanted to hang out and didn't feel like going. Um, and so, let me see. And then, I'm trying to think back. It's been a
You're good.
minute. We would go back, and then, we started.
Did you guys go to the same school?
No, we
No.
didn't. He actually dropped out.
Okay.
That should have been a red flag then,
Yeah.
because I had a lot of aspirations when I was younger,
Yeah.
and I still do, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to go to medical school. I wanted to be a physician, and so I definitely hanged out with the wrong crowd for
Yeah.
that. But anyhow, I still, thankfully, I still end up graduating and I'm going to college, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
And so he started, like, what is it, like, like, younger guys, they tend to have like this, still talk to other girls or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And so that's what he was doing. He was still talking to other girls, still talking, like, cheating,
Oh yeah.
essentially. And so, of course, like, that broke my little teenage heart.
Yeah.
And so and like he would say sorry, and then it just started with like little stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then it started like he started becoming kind of controlling,
Yeah.
you know and so, of course, we got back together, and then like and then I found out he was still doing the same thing, so I was like, whatever, I'm
Yeah.
gonna start dating somebody else. So I started dating somebody else. I'm young,
Yeah.
just do
Yeah.
whatever. And so, and then this should have been a like a huge red flag then, but like I said, young and dumb. So he kind of like stalked me, right?
After you
Um,
broke up with him?
yes.
Yeah.
So
And how old were you when you
I
broke up with
was
him?
like, man, like 17, 16,
Okay.
17. Yeah. And so, he kind of stalked me. He came where I was at, and then, like, of course, how they start off is like they would like, oh, we'll go over there, and then I'll bring like flowers or
Yeah.
something, and I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. That has, never happened to me before. So I'm like, oh my God, you know, that's so sweet. And so we ended up getting back together, broke up with the other guy, got back together. But anybody that follows you, definitely is a big no-no,
Yeah.
you know. But anyways, like, I don't even know how he knew where I was at. Like,
Yeah.
not I think back. But anyway, so it started off with little things like that, and then eventually it built up to physical fights.
Oh, so
Um,
he started. So how did that start off? Like, did it start off like with an argument,
yes,
and
it
then it
started with an
became
argument and become a physical fight. It wasn't like he wouldn't just hit me; it would be an argument, and then so like he would, like, like, and then of course, like, to me, like, I'm like yelling and he would like push me or whatever. It's just little things, it's kind of like a build up, right? um how it goes. I don't think it's like, because people say, oh, that couldn't be me in that relationship, but what they don't understand is that it's like a build up, it starts off with cursing, and then yelling, and then pushing and grabbing and shoving, and then it's a slap, and then it's like, and then it becomes even bigger,
yeah.
and then some people, they don't retaliate. I was very, like, of course, and so I think that's what made it even bigger and
Mm-hmm.
made me stay even more, because I was also, to some degree, I became an aggressor as well,
Mm-hmm.
and but at the same time, I'm like 4'9", and
Yeah.
then he was huge. He was like 6'3", big guy. And so he would always kind of like win, over like these fights. And then I kind of just how do I put it? Like like, I kind of just stayed, and I don't know. Let me see. Um
How long were you guys together?
oh, 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, it's a long
So
time.
throughout the whole 5 years, like, were you were contemplating of leaving him,
All the time.
staying all the
Yes.
time?
Yeah, all the time.
And
And it was just like it was hard.
yeah.
It felt really hard to leave. Let me see. I got married. We ended up getting married at 18.
Okay.
And I was really young, and so we ended up getting married, and then that's when it really like became kind of like a shackle almost. He used that marriage to as ownership over me, kind of
Yeah.
like his property. And so the main reason I felt like I couldn't leave was because like he would threaten me.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be like, "Oh, I'll hurt your family, your friends," and he would show up where I was at. And this was like closer, more towards the end. In the beginning, it was just like little things. And then like one time we had, I should have ran away then, but we had broken up. And then he like, like he started seeing somebody else. And of course, like I was like, I couldn't handle that, my ego or something. Just couldn't handle it. And so I was like, no, let's get back together, do this, blah, blah. But, um, but like he's all kind of known, you
Yeah.
know, and then it was kind of like my escape from like my house, and then it was just I don't know, like that I felt like that was my cue, like I should have that was like God like letting him leave, but I was young then and I continued, and then the marriage was really kind of like it's me signing off myself to the devil almost, and I would say it,
Dang. Yeah.
that's what I would tell him. Like I think the next day after like it got so we kind of eloped,
Mm-hmm.
it was like nobody knew. We just did it. Um
Including your dad. Your dad
yeah, my
didn't
dad
know?
didn't know, girl. So
Wow.
yeah, I definitely did it in secret. I felt like I think I knew deep down that I shouldn't have done it,
Yeah.
but because I was so stuck in this like almost like I don't know, it was like a love-hate relationship, right? That I felt like, I wanted to be with him forever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, do I really like I don't think this is even
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like my rational side was like, girl, you're tripping. Get out.
Yeah.
But then my irrational side was like, well, I love him. I want to be with him forever. He's going to get better.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
stop doing certain things, he'd do this, he'd do that. But it never goes that way, you know? And so, my dad actually found out because, like, whenever we went and got married, he signed the paperwork. Like, I was really nervous. I thought I was gonna pass out. I couldn't breathe.
Oh my
And I was like,
gosh.
okay, like I should like, then I'm like, damn, like I really effed up.
Yeah.
And it's like
So, I'm sorry. So,
it's okay.
whenever you got married, you already felt that way? Like, you already
Yes.
felt that it was wrong, but
Yes. But I continued on. I was,
yeah.
like I said, crazy, but my mind then it was just very irrational. I was just going with the flow,
Yeah.
doing whatever. And then I think there was also that idea of marriage that I
Yeah.
wanted,
Yeah.
and like we were into it so much, and it became like public on Facebook
Yeah.
and stuff that
Basically, you were pretty much happy having the title, but
yes,
behind the title, it's not really a good
yes,
marriage to be with.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of like already now I think back, it's like embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like like people already seen like what I'm going through or whatever, but then it's just like it's kind of like the stubbornness in me to kind of like, no, this is gonna get better. Girl, I now that I really think back to it, like I really like I have made so much mistakes that it's
Yeah.
like, I'm like, whoa, like why did I even do that?
Yeah.
Like I'm smarter than that. I like but yeah.
But I think when we put our feelings first,
Mhm.
our everything else is out
It's
the
irrelevant.
window. Yeah.
Yes.
We just
Mhm.
follow through with whatever, however we feel.
Mhm.
So that's just,
I
you're
agree.
just human.
When you're young and then you kind of there's this thing that my husband tells me, right? He said that your brain it doesn't mature till like 26.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything that you do before then is emotionally driven.
Yeah.
And so that's how you fall into like particular mistakes in life, and it usually involves another individual as well. And so um and I agree with it, because like, you're young, you think like, oh my God, it's the love of my life. Thinking it's gonna be it, and then you don't want to deal with other people's problems as well because I'm like, well, if I go with someone else, it might be another demon.
Yeah.
You can't if for some reason you can't really foresee the future, when you're younger. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. Versus like when you're older, you're like, oh, you can it's easier to make decisions. It's easier to plan out for the future. Some people, right? But anyways, and so the police was called many, many times in that
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
And it's because of domestic.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely domestic. There would be some that where I had called,
Yeah.
and there would be some where someone else has called.
Really?
Yeah, and it got so bad that like I had my friends for a support at the time, and so like I would turn off my phone, and then I would just like go hang out with him, and he would show up. He would literally pop up, and then I would call the police, and then they were like, "How does he know where you're at?" And I'm like, "I don't know,"
Yeah.
and like I really don't know. Like seriously, I really didn't know, and then of course they wouldn't believe me, but which makes sense, like because like how is it that you didn't tell him where you're going, but somehow he still
He's
managed
so,
to? But he's just the type to kind of like drive around, kind of look for me, go with different cars, like, and then he was really good with vehicles, and so he would know like okay whose car is who. Like he's really good with that. It's weird.
yeah.
And so there was like many instances where like I had involved my friends, and of course I started kind of separating myself from that. No, they kind of started separating themselves from me.
Yeah.
And
Is it because they didn't want to deal with that drama?
yeah, because it was a lot. And then I understand because I kept going back. I
Yeah.
kept going back, and then it's just like I really I'm talking about it. I'm like, what's wrong with me? And so I kept going back, and it's kind of like you go through your own things in life. You don't want to deal with other people's stress,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you see how they're being treated. You want to help. You're helping, but at the end of the day, you cannot help someone that doesn't want to be helped.
Yeah.
You can't. And at the time, I don't think like I wanted help, but at the same time, I kept going back. So obviously, there was like something wrong with me, right?
Yeah.
And I should have seen a therapist then. But anyways, um,
Yeah.
so and so as we got older, it progressively got worse.
Yeah.
We started actually going physical fights. We'd have scars, bruises. Yes, it
Oh
was
my
bad.
gosh. Okay, so when the
Mm.
cops were called, what happened after that? They just
He would usually
talked to
get
him, or
arrested.
he would get arrested?
Yeah, excuse me.
And then how long will he be in?
Oh, not long, because of course I would bail him out. Yeah, he would call me.
Damn.
Yes, he would call me, and he would like have like like I'm so sorry, crying on the phone.
Yeah.
That would never happen again. And so I'm like, okay. And so of course like I start feeling guilty.
Yeah.
I would start feeling guilty, like, oh, this is my fault that he's in
That he's
here.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's that's why I say it's almost like a mental state.
I feel like with narcissists too, like they kind of make you feel that way
Mm-hmm.
somehow. I don't know if the way how they talk to you or the way how their demeanor is or
Yeah.
something, or
It's kind of like a love bombing,
yeah,
right? So like they
or
love
trauma.
bomb you.
Yeah, love bomb, and then you
Yeah.
have the trauma bond.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So they love bomb you, and then you're like stuck in that the euphoria of love, and it's just us. It's just and you're young, right? You're young, so it's just like it's even more emphasized. You don't have any other, you don't have any other worries like children and stuff. And then when you add in children, it becomes even bigger. But at the time, all I had was the emotional state, and then I wasn't happy in my home life,
Mm-hmm.
and so therefore I felt like the little bit of love that I could have gotten from him, it was like a lot. And and um and then in my mind I was like, oh, that's loyalty, but it wasn't. It was disloyalty within for
For
myself,
yours.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't think of it that way, and then so it becomes kind of like a self thing, right? Like I wanted love and care or whatever, and I felt like I got that sometimes, and whenever I would piss him off or he would piss me off, that's when it would just go left. When it was good, it was really good, but when it was bad, it was horrible.
Really bad. Yeah.
And so to kind of get stuck in that, it becomes a cycle. you know like there would be some people, they'd be in a relationship, and then they'd say like like every couple have had arguments or whatever, and so most of the time they stay through that. They don't just, oh, okay, we break up because we had an argument. You kind of stick through it, and so it's kind of the same thing, except it's more, how do I put it, it's more bigger, right?
Yeah.
the fights are bigger, the
Yeah.
arguments are bigger. It becomes more physical
And it gets
and it
worse.
gets worse. And so I like that's the best comparison I could put it to towards like normal relationships. Because normal relationships, you argue, you don't cuss each other out, but you just be
Yeah.
like, you talk about it and then you get over it and you move on and you stay together because you're able to move forward and then there was no disrespect. But in the domestic relationships, it becomes very disrespectful, disruptive, huge, physical. It becomes a full on altercation because most of the time, um, your feelings aren't really like regulated, kind of like how do I put it? Like I'm trying to remember back, how I was thinking, and it was just really irrational, and he um he almost kind of provoked me.
Yeah.
There was a time we were at Walmart, and he would like like we got into an argument, and I would just kind of walk off. And so he would walk up to me, and he would twist my arm, right? He would twist my arm, and we'll be at Walmart, and he'd be like close to me, and then just like smiling around other people. Like it's just so crazy.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
girl. And then I'm like, this dude is crazy as
Yeah.
hell. And so of course people started seeing me as the irrational one, as the crazy one. I was the instigator. I was the like I harassed him to some degree because that's how he made it appear.
Yeah.
It got to a point where like everything he did, like I would just blow up because it was constantly like that. But whenever he was in public, he was really good with controlling himself
Yeah.
and making it seem like that was my fault, and we would go home and then we would fall, like we'd be fighting, we'd be in the car fighting. And then he would like he's the type to he would take my wallet, my phone, my keys, and he would drop me off in the middle of the interstate and then just like leave.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And so it'd be in the middle of the night. We'll just, we just got like we were fighting in the car, just dropped me off middle of the interstate. But not like he could at least like leave me my phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then it's like he wanted me to need him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so he would like and then he would drive around,
And then
just
make
to see.
you.
No, he'll wait. He'll wait a few minutes until like, like I guess I've learned my lesson,
Oh my
And
gosh.
so and and then so by then I'm tired. I'm like get in the car and like you done? And then, yeah, like like I'm a child or something, but like, like abusive parenting.
Yeah.
And so and so of course I'm still angry and I'm like, hell no, I'm not done. You know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
like you just made me like walk the freaking interstate, like cars are driving, take my shit and then
Yeah.
like think it's okay. And so and then other times like what he would do when we were living together or married, he would he would cut off the lights. He would go in a breaker box, turn off all the lights, grab everything I would need to like get home to my dad, like phone, wallet, anything of importance, and literally like kind of like almost like lock me in the house. And then I would like find out ways to kind of leave. But then of course it's like you don't want to involve the neighbors because it's very embarrassing,
Yeah.
you know, that I'm even going through this. And it's just like and I kind of just sit there and I would just study because I was also in school, I was in college. I would just study and then I'd just be so stressed out. And I felt like he would always stress me out whenever it's like there's important events coming up, like, like I have like a test or something coming up. And um, a lot of the stuff I kind of like forgot, and I think that's like your mind kind of like helping you cope,
Yeah.
it
Like
kind of,
protecting
yes, protects you from thinking all
the
that stuff over.
trauma.
Yeah, the trauma, and that way you can just move forward and then learn from it. But we had so many police reports. Sometimes it'd be the same officers that would come out, and they would just tell me like, like why are you doing this to yourself? Or a lot of women they die. They don't leave. They don't get to leave. They kind of get stuck in this relationship and then and then the other person, like, you never know how far they'll go. But it was kind of like my arrogant thinking that, like, no, he won't do that. He won't ever go that far. He won't, because like I said, it's kind of like, it's over time,
Yeah.
so it's like, no, he won't do that. He's not someone that would do something like that. But it eventually,
Yeah.
it became that way.
So you were with him for 5 years?
5 years. It was off and on. We
Off and on.
fought a lot in
Yeah.
those 5 years. Let me see. I think the divorce got finalized in 2020. Let me see. I had my daughter. Mm, I had my daughter.
Your
It was
daughter
six,
is
18. So it finalized in 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Is he the father?
No, no, no,
No.
no.
Okay.
He, so like I said, it was like off and on, and then and so like in between, like we would, stuff like I really was trying to leave, but then I kind of somehow just get stuck in the same cycle. They would come around, and I would still like fall victim into kind of like the loop, right? And it's I don't know how to explain it. And then I would say that, oh, I still love him or still have feelings for him, and it almost romanticizes the relationship and forget about the the craziness that
Yeah.
I dealt with. And so there was one time I started seeing somebody, and he had we broke up.
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry.
okay.
Before you get onto that,
Hmm.
what was your breaking point to where it's like I don't want to do this anymore and I just want to file for divorce and just completely leave him.
So I actually filed a divorce. So when we were married, he started seeing this girl. She was in high school.
Oh my god.
Yes, a high school girl, and that's when I realized, like, I just went ahead and went through with a divorce. But I had the paperwork. We were gonna do it amicably, you know, because supposedly, like, he had moved on, all this. But then, like, that's what he would say when she's around, But then whenever he'd be like, okay, well, meet me here so I can sign the paperwork, he would just tear it up and then toss it, and he'd be like, you'll never get to divorce me, leave me, this and that, like, I own you. And so I'm just like, what the
Yeah.
and but then I started seeing someone in college, and then I ended up getting pregnant, and that was like my true breaking point. And then that's when I realized I keep falling in the cycle. I need to really stick to my guns and really leave. And so what I did was, I posted everything on Facebook. I posted all the pictures, the videos, the screenshots, because he would, like, when I say he was crazy, he was real crazy. Like he would like message me, and he'd be like, "I love you so much, I miss you," and I'm like, you're this, you're that, you ain't ish, you're a hoe, you're a slut, you're this, and blah blah. When I see you, and then you better not be with another guy, or else I'll kill both of y'all, blah blah blah. And then like real, like, and it was just, I wouldn't even respond. It would just be him talking
Yeah.
to himself
To
almost.
himself.
And then so I posted everything. I took screenshots, everything, and then kind of went viral, right?
Yeah.
It had like over 2,000 shares. And that's when a detective reached out to me and was like, I can help you.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay. And excuse me. And so she kind of like helped me plan everything out so that I could get out of it. And but yeah,
Can you go into detail on how she were able to help you?
yeah. So we met up, right? She worked with Shreveport PD. She's actually my husband's coworker now.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's amazing. But anyway, so she contacted me through Facebook Messenger, and the DA's office also contacted me, and they had me like on kind of like a protection program, right? And so they let me stay at a hotel, and it kind of they told me to kind of like keep engaging, and so they got I, I want to say, but then I don't want like, if anyone sees the video, like, I don't want the abuser to know how they're doing it, what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like they tracked him down,
Yeah.
and then they went and arrested him. But they had to go through, like, of course, all of the files, all the paperwork, all the police reports I've made to really build a case against him. And I felt like it became bigger because it went viral, and I had attached, like, and then I felt like, how to put it, like, whenever like police the police deals with women that has been through domestic or whatever, I feel like to some degree, I feel like these women need to be, some may need to be institutionalized, but some need like therapy,
Yeah.
you know, because what happens is it's like it happens every single time. And this is why I wish like my husband was here so he can talk about it. But most of the time, women drop these charges, you know, and then for many reasons. My reason was I felt guilty. You know, I felt bad. I felt guilty. I felt like, you know, if it wasn't for me, he would have done that and that. I've, you know, ruined his life. And it's almost like, you know, it just cycles in my mind, and I'll be like, you know, whatever. I'll just bail him out. I'll just stop talking to him. Of course, it doesn't happen because then he reaches out to me,
Yeah.
and um, so I feel like what should happen is that, you know, like whenever these abusers, they, you know, get arrested, um the the victim should be at the same time not get arrested per se, but they should be mandated to see a therapist of some degree, and you know, have them understand like, you know, this is normal, what you're feeling is normal, you know, and that this doesn't mean that you get back with him. This is like, you know, this is just, you know, accept those feelings, move forward, be strong, have better, you know, have stronger will, and then learn from this. But you know, like some narcissists are even worse, where they like, you know, they would plot against these women like as soon as they go get out of jail and become, they go as far as to, you know, killing them. But I have not ever, you know, in my mind I didn't think I was in danger of that until later on,
Yeah.
you know. So I started seeing someone, and then he got upset. So I went to go I said, I don't know how he found me. Now that I think about it, I think he had a tracker on my phone. Like, so with AT&T, you can without even knowing, right? But if you're in the same line with someone, you can track their location. And so we were in the same line. And so I think that's how he was able to find my location. And but it wouldn't pinpoint exactly where. It would kind of be like around the area,
Yeah.
and then he would just drive around. And so at the time I was seeing this guy, and I went to go see him at work, and he kind of just like picked me up. Like he popped up, right? And like grabbed me, took me in the car, and then he took me to like Sligo. It's kind of like way out in the country. He had a friend over there that had a car shop or whatever that he would work on, but it's like way out in the country, way out of nowhere. And then I mean, like, and just started going ham on me. You know, try to get out the car, and then he would just grab me back down, push me down. And then so of course I, you know, eventually I got tired. Like I was like fighting because I just felt something about this just felt different, you know,
Yeah.
because he was like even more aggressive than usual, more like, you know, like, oh my God, like what is he about to do? And so he took me there, and then like he hit me, you know, he hit me and just kept hitting me. And so I would fight back, and I could only do so much. And then we were like by the car, and then he had like strangled me, and then like literally lifted me up on my neck. And I just thought, I was like, oh my God, like, you know, I couldn't get away. And I was like trying to pull his hand off of me. And then like when he put me back like finally put me back down, I was just like, you know, like falling or whatever, because I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know, like this is it for real. And then he, you know, and he dragged me kind of to where his friend's workshop is at. And there's like two guys and there's two friends, and they just watched all this happen. Like, oh, y'all need to take this somewhere else. And then so I had grabbed a chair to like hit him with it, because I'm like, you know, like, bruh, like I am
Yeah.
fighting for my life right now. Pulled my hair and like literally just like beating me down in front of these people.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and like I had experienced like every form of abuse in that relationship, like literally every form, you know. And that's what I told the DA, because you know it's what I've experienced. And like, and then there were times where he would like try to run me off the road, you know. And this the times like whenever like because we weren't together the full 5 years, you know.
Yeah.
I had moved out, stayed with my dad. It like it was just, we're just off and on. Those 5 years is whenever like, you know, we were still portion of it, we're still legally married.
Yeah.
But because we were legally married, you know, like he could have done, he did stuff that he was like kind of allowed to, because Louisiana has this thing of like public property, you know. So like he would go and mess with my car, he would take it, he would, you know. And so of course I felt like I had no help, and so I took it upon my hands to kind of retaliate, which I shouldn't have. But it just made it even bigger. But you know, at the time you don't really think about that, you kind of just like try to find ways to kind of fight it. And then it's almost as if like, I wondered like, what's wrong with me? Like, why do I keep falling to the same bull crap and keep doing the same thing? Because I'm not like, didn't feel like I was stupid. I didn't think I was like, but I was just so stuck in this relationship, almost like this cycle of abuse and being because to some point I was also became the abuser, you
Yeah.
know. I was with him all the time. So, um, kind of like, how do I put it? You kind of become your abuser, right? And so like I said, some people it's different, but for me that's how it was. And I kind of became him almost. And I would like retaliate and then do the same thing as he was. But I would always lose. I wasn't, like I wasn't big enough or strong enough to fight him off. And then like I would just like get back into it. But yeah, so Miss Holmes, I
Yeah.
could go back to the story. But yeah, Miss Holmes had helped me, and then he got arrested. He's
Mm-hmm.
pregnant with my daughter. Um, and then his family started reaching out. His family reached out and was like, asked me if I could help them drop the charges. Because he was gonna be there for a long time,
Yeah.
and I started feeling guilty, and then I was pregnant, emotional, um, and I was just like, what should I do? Is this the right thing to do? I had to really pray about it. So I went to go see him. I really wasn't, they weren't even supposed to let me go see him, but somehow CCC had let me like go through and go see him. We had to talk, and then I felt like this was me, my closure,
Yeah.
you know, and obviously it was not my closure. It was still me kind of like letting him think that there was still a possibility of him grabbing a hold of me. But in my mind, I was just like, okay, this is my closure. This is my like immature thinking. Just like, like almost like, like I was too naive,
Yeah.
you know. And so I had my daughter, and he finally just kind of stopped. But at the same time, he didn't. Like he would like I started dating someone new at the time. It wasn't my husband, and and he would still like find ways to kind of harass me. And then, mind you, one time he followed us home and literally just stayed out there in the parking lot, just sitting. And I'm just like, what the, like I stopped talking to him completely. I blocked his whole family, but he was still, like I guess he was just trying to find ways on how he could really hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was the end of it. This was the catalyst of it, which then I was so stressed out about, but now it's like my freedom, right? So one time, this is the very very end. He had so he went and got a notary, and he did a what is this called? Like a power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
He forged my signature. Yes, he forged my signature and got a power of attorney, and then switched the titles to my car into his name. And like I mean, like I had did girl, I had did my research and everything. This is how I was able to find out because I'm like, what the hell? I woke up one day, came out, my car was gone, and then there's a random number that texted me with a video of the car, and then him playing music and it driving it away with it. And then so I'm like, and so it became like a huge Facebook thing. Of course, his family was defending him. How can he steal someone thing that's his, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Car's title's under my name. And he posts this title with his name on it, like huge drama, like BS. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I went to the DMV, asked what happened. And so they showed me the title, and they showed me the title exchange. And I was like, that's not my signature. And then they were like, so they pulled out my other stuff, and they're like, oh crap, there really isn't your signature. And so I snuck a picture because they said they couldn't give me any
Yeah.
information on it or whatever, unless it was taken by the police. And so I snuck a picture. I was able to find out which notary did it. I mean, full on went. I even went to the title express place that helped him change the title over, and I just asked more questions, and I had all of this ready for the detective, but only for him to tell me that he couldn't dabble into it because we were married, and then when I purchased the vehicle, we were still legally married, and it becomes public property, and he just didn't want to risk his job over that. And so I was just like, what? Are you serious? Like, this is my car. This is how it's, go around, go to work,
Work, yeah.
this and that. And so, but thankfully, thank God, I was able to get another car. But after that incident, I have not ever heard from him. I have not, like, nothing. And so it was just like, it was like, I guess his last expression of, like, I don't know what the hell, like, ownership, that he has some sort of power over me. But like, I really thank God, now that, like, that has happened, because my life has been so quiet and so peace. And then, I had met my husband later on, and it's just like, it's such a different relationship that I just realized, like, man, like, I had really settled for crap then. And all, and, because, like, I didn't love myself. I didn't, like, really truly cared for myself, even though I had aspirations and wanted better for myself. I didn't truly love Chin Chin. I didn't truly um, cared about Chin Chin and how she felt. It was always like, how, like, about everybody else, or like, like, emotion driven. It was never just like, that really wasn't good for me. I shouldn't have done that, or, do this, and, like, just making better decisions. I just did not do that when I was younger. And it was just, um, I wouldn't blame him 100% on it, because it was a two-way thing. Some people, it's just is one way, where, like, the person just beats on him all the time. But for me, it was both of us. And then, to some degree, I was also the aggressor. I was also fighting back. And so, so his family would be like, oh, nah, that was her, it's her too, it's this and that. And but because of, like, that didn't make it okay. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What he, at the end of the day, he's bigger than me. There should have been, like, like, there should have been a point to where, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you with him? He doesn't love you. That's not love. That's not care. No matter what he says, that's like control, ownership. That's like, man, and there were plenty of times that, like, that I had tried to leave, but I felt like I couldn't, um, like, at all. He would, he there was a time where he actually, like, kidnapped me. I was leaving school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was LSUS, and then there usually have these boxes to call police in, but I was too far from it. He drove around, right? Literally grabbed me from the school ground, my keys and everything. And then someone had called the police, and so he dropped me off, but still took my keys. Like, literally, like, threw me out the car, still grabbed my car keys, so that I still would have no way, you know. And then they had to tell him, like, if you don't bring these back, we'll press charges against you. So of course he would bring it back, like, little stuff like that. Like, it would just be petty things that he would try to get away with. Excuse me. And then like, sometimes, like, like, there'd be times, like, like, whenever he would, like, try to run me off the road. And then I had taken a video with some, but then they'd be like, oh, there's tint on there. We can't be 100% sure it's him. It could be someone driving his vehicle. Like, little stuff that he could, like, he was just so sneaky
Yeah.
that he would get away with. And then I would just felt so hopeless, like, to a point where, like, dang, like, the police isn't helping me, and now, my husband being an officer, I kind of understand, because he explains things, like, to where it's like, if we took it to court, I really have to, the officer had to really sit there and explain to the judge, make sure that it is him. Otherwise, it will be on them. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, I understand. But at the same time, it's like, when you're going through these things, it's hard to really understand from the point of view. It's kind of like, like, why is this always happening to me? And then it's almost a point where, like, dang, it might just be easier if I stayed with him. My advice would be, seek a therapist, right? Because sometimes, I don't think people really see that they're in an abusive relationship until it becomes really physical. So I think, it's really important. I think everybody should see a therapist,
Yep.
because there's still some sort of trauma anywhere in their lives. So I think they should really see a therapist, and then tell their therapist the truth, what's really going on. Because sometimes you need that professional, um, a knowledge to, tell you, someone professional to tell you that, hey, yeah, that sounds like, the beginning of a domestic,
Yeah.
because, like, sometimes family and friends, they're not the right person, They're not the right people to tell you, because I don't know what it is. It's kind of like stubbornness,
Yeah.
I guess. Kind of like, you know, like your mom can tell you something over and over again, and you're like, oh, you know, mom don't know
Yeah.
this and that, but she do know, you know,
Yeah.
definitely. My dad definitely knew, you know, but for some reason, I just couldn't take heed to his advice. I just kind of wanted to go against it. So definitely seek a therapist, and then slowly leave, right? It's gonna take time. Some people, unless it's really severe, you gotta like go.
Go.
You know,
Yeah.
call the police, find all your resources. There are resources. You know, it doesn't seem like it, but there really are. There is help, and start all the way over. Like, you know, forget the, oh, I don't have any money. I don't have anywhere to go. Where are my kids gonna go? Forget all that. That's, you know, that's. Would you rather be in a place where you can vent, like, you know, where you're unhappy and then possibility of getting killed, not just you but also your children, versus like, you know, like being um dependent on someone for the time being, you know? Some people, they don't have anybody, don't have any family, but there are resources out there. There's what's, I forgot the name, Project Celebration.
Okay.
Yes, Project Celebration. And find like go call the police, call the police, keep calling the police, and find someone that is willing to help you. Not, you know, if you feel like, you know, this officer isn't giving you the resources you need, find, ask them for another one. You can request that, you know. And then you can go to sheriff's office. You can even get someone to come in and help you grab your things. And for some people, they might need to do it secretly, need to put money aside,
Yeah.
save up, and go far away as possible. Don't be, you know, like, people are scared of starting over, but sometimes you need to, because right now you don't see how bright your life is. Uh, it's okay. You don't see how bright your life is like after this. You know, you're kind of just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. You're worried about the wrong thing. It's kind of like whenever you leave, it's just your mind just clears because you're not in a stressful environment. You know, you're not in a fight or flight. You're kind of just, now this is the steps that you take to know what's next. So the first thing is seek therapy, leave,
Yeah.
find like, you know, whatever works for you. Even if you need to talk to your therapist, I'm trying to figure out how to leave. You know, opening up a new bank account, a hidden one, and have it to where they don't even send you mail, like, you know, mail or notifications on the money you have in there, like, you know, little things like that. Because I promise you, you know, it does not get better. It only gets worse. Abuse is like, it's almost like a Pandora's box. Whenever you open it, like some people, it might seep slowly, but eventually it will poison you. You know, it's going to poison you, and then it might kill you, or it might change you as an individual. And, and to me, I felt like I was not, you know, like the person I was then wasn't even who I am. And it became me, you know, because I've gone through it for so long. I was, you know, dealing with stuff, those things. And it's just like, I was so mean. I was like, man, I like the stuff that I would say back to other people. Cause it almost, I don't like, I started messaging like women or whatever, you know, thinking like, you know, kind of like made it their fault to some
Yeah.
degree, that, you know, when
Yeah.
it's his, he was the problem, he was the problem, he was the issue, and I need to get away from him,
Yeah.
you know. But it was like I didn't want to, at the same time I did. It was like I was troubled by those things, and then I was like, okay, if I leave, he's gonna do this, gonna do that. Forget all that, let him do it. Call the police every single time. Stop worrying about, you know, the what ifs, and just go. And then you're gonna need the emotional support.
Mhm.
So friends, family, you know, you really need your people there with you to really help you remember like why you're leaving. Really make you feel like, you know, you have that support outside of that. And I mean, that's just really my main advice, because like over time, people get stuck in this thought of like, oh, well, I love him so much, or I love her so much, you know, I'm never gonna find a relationship like this, or you know, he's really rich, he's taking care of me, or he's a father of my children, you know, how about my like, all of that is irrelevant. There will be someone that will take care of your children and will be there for you as well, the emotional support that you need. And why rely, like, sometimes it doesn't have to be the biological parent. Not all biological parents are really the best parents.
Yeah,
Just because they had you does not mean
they're the
that,
best for you.
yes, they're best for you. And as a mom, you have to make that decision for your children. And let's say, okay, great, he's an amazing parent or she's an amazing mom, but they're just trash to you. You can find ways around that, but
Yeah,
you don't have to be together to do it. And then it's like they kind of find comfort in that, and you have to love yourself enough to be strong and just, no, I'm not dealing with this, I'm done, you know and find ways to leave. And like I said, if it's severe, find a way to call the police. If someone walks you, find another person. You know what I'm saying? You need to find some. There is someone that is willing to help, that will listen, that will take the initiative, that will go above and beyond to make sure that that person is gone. That won't ever do that to you again. Because I have, I I actually spoke at this. It was an event. It was a DV event that my therapist had
I
hosted.
saw that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and uh so there was another lady that was in there, and it kind of how do I put it, I felt so bad because, like, the what she had went through, it's like she had no choice but to, like, be in there. And it was like he had almost, like, tore her down so much that, like, that she feel like, like that she literally had to find help at she was at Walmart.
Yeah.
Actually, she said she told him she was going to go to the nearest bathroom, and just found a, like, officer that was just happened to be in there. And then that's when he got arrested or whatever. But, like, there are some people that, like, they, like, they're not as they're not in a better, I wouldn't say I was in a better position, but, like, they're
Yeah.
not the same position as I was. So I was able to just take myself out because I was also the problem, you know. So, but the financial thing, it's like, I mean, you know, money is the root of all evil.
Yes.
And so sometimes you might have to just be to financially struggle for a little bit and make your own money eventually. Find out what you're good at and then make money doing that, instead of, like, relying on another individual that's abusing you but giving you these things. What's the point of having materialistic things whenever you're getting physically abused, or emotionally abused, mentally abused, verbally abused over it? It's not worth it.
Yeah.
No diamond, no ring, no bag, no car, nothing will ever amount more to your life. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what I mean by, you really have to love yourself. You really have to love yourself to put more value onto yourself, more than, like, these materialistic things, you know. And it's like, you really have to really love yourself to know that, if I am watered and I grow, it's the same thing for my children.
Yeah.
you know I will be a better mom. I can be there more for them. And to be in that, if you need to leave, then that's what you need to do. you know and it's just like, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You
Yeah.
will find love again. There's billions of people in the world. You will find a soulmate. You'll find another relationship. You'll love again. We are not just like, oh, one hit wonder. Is like, oh, this is the person, is gonna be it for, of course that's the goal. But if you had made a mistake, it's okay. Learn from it, move on, talk about it to people, because some people might need that push, and sometimes they might need to hear your story. And
Yes.
I never, like, I was, I had my daughter, I was a single mom. I never would have thought that I would, get remarried, fall in love again, be in a, healthy relationship, open a nail salon, you know, um, like, be a business owner, really, like, help. Like, I never would have thought that when I was 16, when I was, like, dealing with 17, 18,
Yeah.
never would have thought that, you know, I was still trying to figure out my life then, and never would have thought, like, oh, if I can just get out of this and learn from this and really, push on, then my life would be a lot better, you know? And it's like, all these things are momentary. And then sometimes you have, even though it doesn't seem like it, you have a choice. You always, always, always have a choice. Um, and pray, at the end of the day, God is really, he's powerful, he's strong, he will heal you. And it's there's some non-believers, I get that. And it's like, I really, it's almost like I feel bad because
Yeah.
it's like man, like, you're missing out on God's love
Yeah.
and
His
like
gift.
yes, his gift, what he's able to do for you. You're letting other people's way be a hindrance to your relationship with God. This God is different. He's not these people. You know what I'm saying? He's not the church. He's not the Christians. He's not, God is himself, and in what he's able to do for you in your life, like it gives you more hope, you know? And sometimes that's what you need is hope and faith that it will get better instead of making decisions for yourself. You need to just have hope and faith that it will get better. He'll get me out of this. He will help me. He will guide me, you know, through people, through choices, through life. Really move on.
Yeah.
Seek help, therapy, whatever help you feel like you need, seek it. Don't ever feel like you are a burden to anybody. If they say you're not, then take that and build yourself up, because you need that. You need that moment in time where like you're helping, kind of like loving yourself, building yourself up again. And I know it's harder with kids, but I really had to, do that for myself.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to start making better decisions in my actual relationship in the future. And I just want them to feel like they're not alone. It's like I think, man, Louisiana really ranked high on DV
Yeah.
victims. I think like we were the third.
I've been getting, since I posted that I'm gonna start
Hmm.
this podcast and everything, I have tons of women in my inbox. But since I only film, certain days and stuff because I
Hmm.
work, it's just so sad. And then, I would ask them, can you give me like a little brief, story? And it's
Hmm.
it breaks my heart.
Like people will hear your story, and mostly while you're in it, while you're in the thick of it, and they'll kind of get tired. They're kind of like, well, I mean, she's still doing it, she's still dealing with it, so you just, you know, find the people that still supports you, that will
Yeah,
help
no
you.
matter what.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like whenever you start seeing people kind of um give up, you kind of subconsciously give up
Give up
also.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, well, I mean, they don't care, nobody else cares, so I mean, I guess it's not that bad. It is.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is that
Yeah.
bad. So,
And yeah.
but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming here and telling us your story.
Thank you for having me.
You're
I really
welcome.
do appreciate it.
Yes.